Ladies and gentlemen, this is the year 1999. We are on the brink of a new millennium, and it seems that the Mountainburg High School Spartans are on the brink of a new dynasty, as they have just completed their 12-1 season with a state championship. Ladies and gentlemen, this just in. Your Mountainburg Spartans have done it again. They have won the 2011 state championship. How have they done it? And will they do it again? No. No, they won't. In the 14 years since, our school has not received a single state title, despite countless hours of both training and conditioning. So what did those 2 years, those 2 bookend years of a dynasty have that the others didn't? Was it a special coach? Or outstanding team leadership? Or was it something altogether different? Well, before we can answer that question, we need a little background information. Since 6th grade, I performed year-round for my school. Cross-country, indoor track, outdoor track, and the annual spring musical. Outdoor track and the musical being simultaneous. In 7th grade, when I first encountered this conflict, I decided to quit track and focus on the musical. However, throughout the spring semester, I became restless, my body craving physical activity and competition. I never forgot that feeling. Which is why when my 8th grade musical came around, I decided to do both track and the musical. Right off the bat, my days became blurs of run, eat, rehearse, repeat. And while tedious, the schedule was distinctly beneficial. I noticed myself becoming more relaxed and focused during rehearsals, and I was racing better too. The connection between participating in the arts and my athletic performance was obvious, but it made me wonder, why is this so hard to do? It felt hard, if not impossible, to work both arts and athletics into my life. But by diversifying myself, I as an athlete perform better in all activities. And I believe that everyone deserves that opportunity. It's no secret that athletes are under pressure. Pressure to play harder, push longer, run faster. A majority of this is due to a phenomenon known as sports specialization. According to the National Federation of State High School Athletics Associations, sports specialization is defined as intense, high-volume training and participation in a particular sport at the expense of an equal focus on other sports. After choosing one activity to focus on, students are forced to pour all of their time into that one activity, leaving little room for anything else. This specialization creates an almost career-like atmosphere in athletics, which is especially dangerous in children, as it can lead to both loss of interest and burnout due to high levels of both stress and pressure. However, fine arts can solve this problem. According to a 2024 study by Machakos University in Kenya, art therapy, as it is referred to, provides a successful solution for psychological challenges such as performance anxiety and stress in athletes. While the study is recent, this theory is not. Professional athletes have been using art therapy for decades as a way to cope with both the mental and physical aspects of their sports. There are numerous examples of famous artist athletes. Think of Terry Crews, NFL player turned Hollywood superstar, famous for his appearances on the hit TV series Brooklyn Nine-Nine, America's Got Talent, and others. But did you know that Terry Crews is also an artist? Additionally, world record-holding sprinter Usain Bolt is an avid photographer, as seen in this picture from the London Olympics, in which he stole a photographer's camera in order to take a picture from a perspective he noticed. All of these are examples of athletes who use arts for their benefit, with incredible outcomes. But arts don't just affect the professionals. Remember what I said about our school's football in 1999 and 2011? Well, there was something different about those years. But it didn't have anything to do with the coaching, the facilities, or even the competition. It did, however, have everything to do with fine arts. Because in the years 1999 and 2011, our high school performed the Andrew Lloyd Webber classic, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. If anyone isn't familiar with the show, Joseph's 11 brothers performing multiple song and dance scenes are some of the most memorable characters on the bulletin. But there was something different about Joseph's brothers in our production. They were played by the entire O-line. And no, this isn't a hidden camera prank show. All of those 6 foot, 1,000-something pound guys donned stage makeup and costumes and shined under the lights, leading to some of the most memorable productions in our school's history. When taking part in both athletics and the arts, our athletes performed better than they ever had. Coincidence? I don't think so. However, fine arts can affect more than just the performance aspects of athletics. Most importantly, fine arts can provide an important fallback for athletes. For athletes, any number of things can go wrong in a given season. Fears of injury, sickness, and commitment conflicts constantly fill the mind of an anxious student-athlete. And if any of these occur, well, their season is completely ruined. But then what? For some athletes, especially those who are less diversified, they have nothing else to turn to. However, fine arts can solve this, which I personally experienced. In my 9th grade cross-country season, I experienced an injury mid-season. My hip flexors crumpled, my IT band strained, and I could no longer place weight on either hip. My season was ruined. Without fine arts, I would have had nowhere to turn. But instead of sitting in shame, I turned to art. By placing my focus on my piano and choir performances, I was able to rebuild my self-confidence and recover from the season. Fine arts had provided a necessary net to catch me when I needed it most. There is a connection between athletics and fine arts. By taking part in both, athletes perform better both on stage and on the field. So why don't all athletes participate in the arts? Well, it's not always as easy as you might think. Because practices and rehearsals generally occur simultaneously, athletes are only ever able to attend one. This creates commitment rifts which can anger both coaches and fine arts directors, who then in turn might force their student to choose fine arts or athletics. Do you see the problem? Due to the severe lack of communication, athletes are forced to make decisions regarding who they are and what they do. But there is a solution: fostering relationships between coaches and fine arts directors. Now, by relationships, I don't mean that coaches should go have a walk and talk with fine arts directors about why football players should just be more like Troy Bolton. No, by relationships, I simply mean a spread of mutual trust. Coaches have to trust that their artists know what they're doing and that they are prepared to work a little harder to make it work. Fine arts directors have to trust their athletes that just because they are also competing in a sport, it does not mean they are not dedicated to the arts. Coaches and fine arts directors have to trust each other, knowing the benefits both will see in their programs. And finally, athletes have to trust both their coaches and fine arts directors, knowing that they only want to help them, and most importantly, trust in themselves. So, if you're an athlete, consider participating in your school's fine arts program, knowing the effect it will have on all of your performances. Likewise, if you're an artist, consider participating in your school's athletics program. If you are a parent of an athlete or an artist, encourage your child to join in on the fun, because I'm sure that wherever you are, either program will be happy to have them. And if you are a coach or a fine arts director, take special care to help all of your students make it work. Because I think we all know how much better the world would be if every offensive lineman was in a musical. Thank you.